Hey, hello. Welcome back to the wonderful, marvelous trading show from Trade Spotting, the trade doctor and spotter. Yes, it is I, to help with anything I can't help with. Is this working, eh? So just let me know, right? Anything you want me to look at. This is where the important messages come through on. That guy. Let me double check. Is he on? Probably not. That's not what I need. Get off of there. Come on. Flying start here. Right, is this button? That's that button. All the buttons. Also need this button. Double check he's working. Jeez Louise. So we're going to look at a couple of things that I didn't notice the faxes from because the activity dock had disappeared. It's back now. Dark. Stuck my GME wants to have a look at UVXY. He followed the format and everything. And then previous to that, Average Monk wanted to have a look at Tesla. These are the two that we're going to get to, along with SPY and anything else. And John G, also YVR. So that's three to look to. And is this working? That seems to be working. Click that, it seems to be working. Go back here, connect it, Utubio. Connected, excellent. Right. Excusez-moi. Onto the chairs. GameStop. That's not what we were looking for. First, it was SPY. SPY. 50 simple, holding prices on the 15-minute time frame, pushing to the top side, holding 400 at the close there. Post market, not much difference. 4 hour where you see most of the action evolving. Still pushing to the top side, in at the bullish control zone now. That's what we were looking for. If you hold that, you will push towards the target, 408, downward sloping resistance, 411, a little bit of a zone in between. Nothing surprising then really. MACD crossing back up again here, which would have needed to have done. And previously positive signs on histogram. So we haven't yet lost this positive move. And back in the bullish control zone, RSI prices exceeding their previous high. Yeah, sure, maybe bearishly diverging at the minute, but this is by no means topping out yet. Nor has it made a significant retrace that you could call it a high. So, price action, continuation, we would expect, might even be able to now that we've exceeded this guy, drop this guy on and say where would be our next target. 402 spot 5, we got to 402.91, so wicked above there. That's 403.50, trace spot ash, 403, not actually made it yet. So that's the next target, 403.50. Obviously the week is finished, so significant would be Monday morning. The first hour of price action would be interesting. If we slip back down again, this will be a divergent high. If we continue on, 403.50 is the next target, make it above there. It could be a really quick move to 408, 409, close this previous gap. You're already in that area at the minute. That's why he's there. Clearly closed a little bit of him. Rest of it still to be done there, and 408 changed target. So you push up. That'd be what we're looking for. 4 hour time frame says that's potentially going to happen there. Daily, I mean, it looks like it will. Daily time frame, 200 period moving average, turn drawings off, so it's slightly more obvious. Still resistance. We spoke about how that would potentially, especially as it was coming towards the end of the week there, prove to be true still for a while yet. Ugh. Right, so 200 period moving average, yeah, resistance. Daily time frame. RSI not yet in the bullish control zone on the daily, so if Monday doesn't work out well in the very beginning, you'll see it come back down and try and test these gaps around 380. That's where we would go to if Monday morning doesn't work out well. Monday morning not working out well would be losing those levels, not aiming to above, dropping back below 400, not going for the 408, 410 target. That would be then, if that closes below 400, you would go then straight to 390 on within Tuesday probably, and then you would be looking at closing this gap by the end of the week down at 380 if Monday morning doesn't work out well. Monday morning being the first hour of trading, opening range first half an hour for 45 minutes. Really, that's what I'm looking to on Monday to see what happens. And if you persist in it around 400 or not far away from it, then I'd still be aiming for the 408, 410. So that's up to daily drawings off, turn drawings back on. What did we see? You've got this trend still continues. You could easily come back down, lose significant levels as long as you hold 392, 398 even better, 396, 398, flying, really. Still totally flying. So that's in the face of everything. Weekly, what did we see then since we had our closed drawings off? 50 simple, that was the target since we bounced off the 200, yet to reach that area. That's still within our 410, 412. You know, by the time it end next week's over, that'll be down towards exactly where we're aiming for. RSI back above center line here. Obviously, you've got bullish divergence on this most recent low, and at that stage, you would be saying, well, can't see anything there. You'd be saying, make a new chart for this new point. Right, great. And that's, So what I wanted to do here was talk about the likely retracement you'd see off the back of this signature here, of this divergence. And so that would be talking about this high, and you would talk about it going back to resistance, right? That's what you'd likely expect. The first area of resistance, as you can see on this guy, is the 50 simple, which is at that 411, which will be at the end of next week, right? Take more for it. And then if we're looking for it to exceed that, the next high that you'd be aiming for, I mean, it's the same deal as the horizontal level of resistance. To exceed that, you're looking towards 420, where there's a little bit of an inflection point on the chart. And that would be an 886 from this breakdown here. Right, don't know if we drew that in 100% accurately or whatever. Anyway, 420, right? That's the next target back above, not just adding on $10 every time because whatever, it just happens to be like that because of the way price action's fallen back down. And so 420, and you're thinking like, that sounds like things are very, very optimistic and bullish. Well, it's not really, you know, it's not really. This downward sloping line here, right? That's like why you'd be feeling like it was bullish, because we'd exceeded that downward sloping resistance in this trend, which is also part of overall bullish formation, like this guy, right? But if it was to work out and that was to be that sort of thing, then you would typically see it having bounced in and around the middle, which you didn't. We exceeded it, went down below it. And so, you know, statistically, like, things are not as perhaps might look good, they might smell a little something, right? But fuck the game, right? If it don't mean nothing. And that's 420, right? So 420, yeah, you know, it's not necessarily bullish. You break that downward sloping diagonal, that's like, they're not, it's the horizontal levels, and that, well, you might be exceeding this. It's not an inflection point within the trend, is it? Let's be honest. That would be back up here, where you've pushed the most recent extreme oscillation up around 430. And so this is where you need to break for those positive feelings in your loins to be meaning anything, right? It's not. It's just getting excited, all right? So calm down, right? Also, as we can see now, at the top side of a golden pocket retracement, so you're kind of greedy, asking for anything more than this. Are you greedy? I mean, do we know each other that well already? And then for regards to the retracement now from this low, which was bullishly divergent, went through the 200, the 236. Obviously, it was on 200 period moving average at the low. And then I just used the other charts. You know, they're back towards 50 simple. So you've gone through 236, 200 period moving average of support. You're at or around 50 simple, at least our targets are to the top side. Prior level of resistance is there, and you've exceeded the golden pocket retracement. So like anything you might have anticipated getting in terms of like a typical reaction from that level of magnitude with respect to divergence on that momentum indicator, this is how it works, right? That's the framework. Asking for more than that, you're now in no man's territory, right? It's no longer what that trade was suggested. So, you know, right? So there's loads of other things we could do in that, but we've made that point really, really well now. So we're going to go over and look at VIX, which will then lead us onto the UVXY. That's not even log. Yeah, I've been doing all of this without it. Right? No, that was just this for me. Like, anyway, I don't want it on that. Daily, that'll do. And trace button, perhaps one of the few people going, let's be honest, not trying to toot my own horn here, that we're talking about the likelihood. Yeah. Shout out to the Americanos. They're coming back. That's coffee, isn't it? So coming back, close this gap, right? Yeah. So And what's that? You know, it helped us talk about what was going on SPY. This is also like partly the knowledge on this is so very contextual because we've been using this to do some of our hedging recently. So coming around, close that gap. That was anticipated. The retracement on the Fibonacci similarly. And at this point, you filled the gap. You've come back to what you might expect to with regards to the technical artifacts pointing to retracements. And then you've got this question of a trend line. Now, this trend line, where's my... Hello? This trend line, yeah. This trend line, which is also part of this potential formation with price action having come down, breaking back up to the top side, looking at it going through something like this, having previously done something very similar over here. And we can look at what becomes like the inflection point within this, right? Well, there was probably a bullishly divergent low here. You'd previously come back and filled this gap. You'd had like a reactionary move. We haven't had that sort of thing over here yet. Have come back down, filled in little gaps, but then within the trend, you know, not all that incredible having done that. I imagine it does it quite regularly. So what you're really looking at there is this thing. Does it manage to make it back above significant levels on this extreme? I mean, this is one of them, and this is the low from the prior formation. You haven't managed to break that. You start putting in this trend previously, and you'd be looking at this thing. Well, the golden pocket would be where you're aiming for. The low side of it, having broken back above 50%, which you've done a number of times, and this is the target. Right? Get back above 35, things will go looking towards 44. Seeing inflection points within this thing, perhaps you'd be looking for a little bit higher, maybe in at around 50. Any more than that would be asking for a lot. Comparing it to the previous formation here, you know, and with its own Fibonacci's, I mean, you could do all that. We'll go back to the weekly, it'd probably be easier. But we've got a different chart for VIX. We'll go with that in a minute. 4 hours, seeing anything? No, not that desperately. And we'll just go and look at it over here because that's where it's all drawings are. No? Where are your drawings? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, great. So the volatility of the volatility. So a lot of people don't understand VIX, and that's because there is such a large amount of knowledge to absorb as a trader, especially if you're new to it. And when I say new, I mean anything within 24 months, right? That's not very long, 2 years. And the truth is that the vast majority of people will go bankrupt long before they've managed to achieve just that starting chunk, that first period of time. So there's a lot of and a lot of the people who do make it they're entirely via luck and like the schedule of their trading. Whereas if you're doing this for a living, you're really committed to it, and you've been, you know, learning and trading regularly a couple of years into it, you're among a very few, right? Very select group of people. So shout out to everybody who's been following here for that sort of time. And so it's very few people that like absorb all different aspects and understand all the different bits of, you know, levers and knobs. And I would be that too, right? I don't understand everything about everything. And, you know, there's some traders who spend their entire lives just trading particular option contracts on oil. And there's others who'll only ever trade metals and futures contracts again, or just like in the arbitrage avenues of all of these different assets. And so it's, and then, you know, a group of people that would traditionally trade SPY do it because, you know, depending on the way you're investing, you might be getting a yield, a passive income. It's an indices rather than individual assets. So, and it's already the check picking from a selection of the 500 best assets. So a lot of people gravitate towards this sort of trade, and also, you know, it's very sort of you know, set and forget kind of thing. SPY. So a lot of people do that, and it would typically be in investing, and it would be obviously a lot of retail then are interested in that one thing. And so I'd say like a good yardstick for your own performance is, how do I perform against SPY over time? You know, if you're not doing better than it. Right, so and you'd be surprised, right, at how some professionals. So this is what we're thinking about, right? It's difficult to learn everything, and people who learn about SPY don't necessarily then know about all the knobs and levers. And one of the things that they would say is, well, SPY, right? And when, you know, what's like in the same ballpark is, well, we'll be talking about, you know, DGI and NASDAQ. And then maybe some of those people will talk about futures, and they'd go on to understanding the maths behind sensible risk management and the assets and instruments that have been developed to exploit those opportunities. And so they would follow the path of understanding spot, understanding like all the different indices, going and understanding futures, and they'd then use options later as insurance over those future positions. And this is the best setup for managing any account. But a few people will go the wrong way, which I would say the wrong way. I'd categorically say it to be the wrong way. And that's where so many of the people who make it to 2 years but don't make it to 4 is because they've discovered leverage in one fashion or another, and it takes them into option trading. And it might well be, you know, the jazzy lights of Robin Hood or whatever it is that, you know, the SEC and other authorities want to infantile you in the narrative and say it's just because they love like the bingo hall effect or some other crass understanding to patronize people, to self-edify, right? Which is what all of these institutions do. They should all be burnt to the ground. It's absurd, right? Never mind ask them for help. So, right, what we're looking at there is people who trade VIX then because they think it's a volatility measure of SPY, which at first glance makes intuitive sense, but in truth, it couldn't be anything more different. The VIX is this particular one we're looking at here. It tracks out of the money option contracts on SPY via Chicago Board of Exchange. And let me tell you what happens with out of the money futures contracts or options contracts on SPY, right? As I've explained before, when I talk about how I can anticipate moves in price as determined by the current picture in open interest, shorts and longs are incentivized to behave in particular ways at particular times. And so when a short or a long contract is out of the money, I've explained on numerous times what happens and what other side of the trade is incentivized to do, and then when you're in the money, how that naturally will affect price action and where the equilibrium comes to and why that happens to be around the end of the week and what max pain ultimately means and how you can use it to trade better. And when you talk about out of the money futures or option contracts on SPY, the takeaway from that is that they're incentivized to close when they're in the money, and when they're far away from the money, the other side of the trade's going to increase. The equilibrium's going to bring it back down, and that's why VIX can be said to be a mean reversion asset. It will always return to the mean because it's an it's an amplified effect of that very self-same mechanism on SPY, which is what it's actually looking at, right? Although there is various risk mechanisms within it. So this is what we're doing when we're trading VIX, and this is why at various times, whether you understand it or not, it's appropriate to use it as a counter trade, while it might not work perfectly as a mirrored hedge. So this is what we're talking about with VIX. And then there's other instruments which are similar to VIX, one of which is UVXY. Right now they get things like this. These are contracts upon contracts upon contracts. Go back over here. And whether or not VIX follows through with this formation, right, it's very likely it does. If it breaks down any more, then the levels that would be taking it to would not be the diagonal, all be the horizontal. And the next one's this down at around 16, right? Should it break 20, 18, and then 16? If that doesn't hold, you're looking at a 1.1 free extension down at 12. And that would speak to the very, very few people being out of the money on these, right? And relative to the overall whole. So what would that essentially mean then? That low level wouldn't mean that SPY is going to go up huge amounts, as those first group that I was detailing earlier might believe. It means that it's going nowhere. It's stuck in the mud, and it gets given off the impression that it will never, literally ever move again. That's what that means. And so, so following through that, right, whether or not at a certain point, whether VIX is going up or down, whether SPY is going up or down, VIX will go up a lot. And so we're waiting for the point at which the volatility, then we're back to that first understanding, the intuitive understanding of VIX. The volatility is at its lowest as represented by VIX being really low. And when you see a similar profile then on volatility on SPY, you see an absolutely huge move is coming, and it'll be when price departs from support or resistance by a significant degree. And you know what those are if you've taken the course, right? So this is what we're going on to then look at UVXY. So UVXY, and I'm definitely putting far too much into these fucking... Right, shows. Well, but anyway, why am I deleting stuff? This is probably all amazing. Go back to UVXY there. What was that? Well, this was the short position that we talked about, which was like illustrating to people to get out of the long position that we'd previously identified down here from 8.8 that took to around 13.8 and then fell back down, exceeding these prior lows. You've got bullish divergence, obviously, and there's crazy targets on this if it did move. But this is also the sort of thing that, due to the way that it's constructed, long story short, isn't the sort of thing that people would typically hold for a long duration of time. So while it can provide a counter trade, it doesn't necessarily provide a good hedge, especially if the time decay is a big part of either side of that trade. So you're looking at this thing at the minute, downward sloping diagonal there. Trace point, just shut up already. Eh? No one knows. At this point, there's about 4 people actually listening. Eh? Right, so is there even 4 people here? I don't even know if this is working. Right, so there's the low, and yeah. Right, get back on target, trace point. 50 simple period moving average there. Where are we here? Start on the weekly. Okay. 7 spot 77. Sounds good. It's not that, but it's 774, but we'll call it 77 because that's nice, and I think I said it yesterday. Right. Volatility of the volatility of the volatility indicator, very low. So bullishly divergent, typically would be for a while before it starts to turn around on this thing. As you can see, certainly not broken the trend recently. That's the weekly time frame, so we're not going to see much there other than that. Now, 2-day time frame, just for the crack. Just for the crack. Trace butter. 50 simple, back up at that previous. Ow. Golden pocket. Price action could then push to 10 before anything significant happened. That'd be a 50% retracement here. Getting back above there would suggest you're going for a golden pocket retracement and perhaps trend it then to the top, test this previous high again. Not doing that yet. So the first level to aim to if you were to turn around would be back around 880 from 770. Daily time frame. Previous low on this comes in at around that same level. 4-hour time frame. Flash. That'll be that level of resistance then at 10, 1030, 50% retracement. If we were right about that, weren't we, folks? It's also where you find a gap closing, so it probably does push to there. First target will be 8, second target 1030, 888, 1030 if it pushes up. Then we're sloping trend at the minute, a little bit of a gap before that, inflection point at 830. If price action is going to wick there really quickly and fall away, that would be the place to do it from. 2 hour, nothing to see. Boom, boom. 1 hour. Lots of bullish divergence there, might be about to make a move. And this is what we had a fact about from yo Bulldog, you total legend. Which extended hours should I have on my trading view? Which one have I got? I've not got extended hours on, have I? Boom, boom, boom. Regular trading traded it. Regular. Which extended? Well, there's only the one extended. There's only the one extended. I don't understand. Can you please ask me that question again? Bulldog, yo. Which extended hours? We'll get to it. We'll get to it in a second when I figure out what it means. Extended hours. I mean, it'll all be coming through from the same. As soon as you're getting your data from, innit? Or are you asking about VIX? CBOE, slightly different timings for different things, innit? I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. Hey y'all. UVXY looking like it could be getting that third touch on the W. Third touch on W, UVXY. RSI soon, perhaps. Alright, and if so, where would that entry come, do you think? RSI's down here. We're not seeing that in a 1 hour. 4 hour. Potential W forming here. lower lows, lower lows. No divergence. Apart from potential continuation divergence, failing to push up there in a 4-hour daily time frame. Nothing W like. Gap those obvious there, 8:30. So where we did, I think I got entry line there at 695, currently 778. If you're looking about an extension for this breaking down any more, did we already talk about this? Was that VIX? I mean, from this prior low to this high, you got that fib on trade spot, and you have. You've exceeded that, and then you're looking about going 1618. That would be in at around 650, 680. What was your potential? Got an entry line around 695, but lots have changed since I put there, I guess. Well, yeah, well, this low and this high would suggest maybe you want to extend it down a little bit, down to 650. 680 be the top side of that similar thing. I think that's what you're talking about, or else it's this prior low, in which case we're looking, I mean, there isn't. This is UVXY. There is no prior low down there. Oh, that was maybe these lows and what we were talking about previously from that low to high. I can't actually remember. There's two of them there anyway. Get the face. So you've not managed to put any sort of a return to the top side yet. This Fibonacci is not really real. I'd be looking at this thing and saying just from this last point, you're looking at 815, 815 to 830. You managed to break above there. You're looking at going to 880. The trade might be from 880 up to 1030. Immediately wrong if it doesn't get back above the 50 simple here. You know, that trade would immediately be wrong. Might be multiple opportunities to take it. Might be the wrong place. It depends how you like to trade. Also, it could be in around a low. You haven't got any of that bullish divergence there in a 4-hour here on the lows, and you do have continuation divergence. So I'd be looking at VIX for, you know, what are the most, you know, if it's going to move down or up in the next short period of time, which we've just come from and thought it looks like it'll push a little bit lower again. 2-hour, what are we seeing? Nothing there, or W's either. 50 simple below the 200. I mean, it's still, regardless of what your particular thing you're looking at there, Dark Sir, which I would like to hear more about, so I'll have a little look if I see it coming through in the chat now or later. Volatility is not really there yet on this thing, but then on the daily, you're right about to. Yeah, interesting that actually. Put it in context, so that's the end of 2D. Bit to go yet, bit to go potentially. I suppose I could slap on the stochastics, but then you've got the VIX and everything else to get you more information on that side of things. If it did make it back above there, I mean, I suppose you're not going straight to 1030 for that golden pocket, but you know, this is this fib. You actually would be back looking at the other dude because it would have been exceeding those targets. So yeah, I mean, the 200 period moving average coming in at around 960, 970. These are when risk gets on. Like, so I mean, what's the overall? Put the trade guide. What's what trade that UVX? Well, if you're looking at the long potential for this to explode up while everything else is collapsing back down again. Probably, you know, getting back above those 1030 levels at the minute, that would be interesting. Not sure if this 200 period moving average we told you for long would be the target at 1360. Absolutely huge trades, potentially huge trades on UVXY are what? 200 period moving average back up at around 150. Previous flash up at around those levels. Don't need these massive Bollinger Bands on. They need to get themselves on a Y front diet, because that's disgusting, by the way. What's this auto button do for me today? Nothing. I thought about taking off at the start. And now get out of town. What are you doing? Right, so. Well, that's wow, George's trades, but this is a number of flashes there that were interesting. Where was that previous one? Alright, so back around 35, and if it does, it probably pushes to 50 anyway. So you'll be looking at that as a breakdown from its prior high overall. What's that retracement then? This guy. That's this guy. This is what we were talking about. 236 on this. Where's that coming at? From your most recent low. Well, I mean, we've probably measured this out into speculating, right? That 1618 is not bad there, actually. You're looking at this thing. Wow! Shocking, right? Could, like... This is not going to go... Right, so... Probably does make it to 50 if it goes to 35 at this stage. I'm not seeing a true bottom information on this thing, though you wouldn't, right? Like I'm saying, you'd be checking for VIX. So SPY VIX, then you'd maybe find yourself in UVXY doing the TA looking for the trade if it was presenting you a better risk reward opportunity than VIX. Though there's the other risk, you know, with time on this thing. So, you know, complicated swap, so it is. Where are we going to? Autobotic, hold on, has been a member for 18 months. Boom. Always here, rarely chat. Content is gold, thank you. Listen, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Right, brilliant. I think we did something there, Dark. I'm not really figuring out what your trading strategy was. So, on that sense, maybe I'm not adding value. I'm hoping to. What else did I miss there? John G was asking about that thing. Bulldog asked about that thing. What was the other thing I missed, though? What was the other thing I missed? Yo, mine and boom. Shout out, mine and boom. See him there. Where is this? What did I miss? I'm sure I missed something. Didn't I? Oh well, it looks like it's gone forever now. Sorry if I missed something. YVR, huh? Liquid metal. No. Liquid media. Same difference, eh? Issue. Is this liquid media? What kind of liquid media? Is this P? Is this liquid media PP? Oh, it's not very good, is it? Why so bad, liquid media? Packaged software, huh? How can it be? I mean, that sounds the opposite. I would have thought liquid media group. How is packaged software? Is it? I mean, what sort of packaging? Because it's liquid, you know. Are people really ready for liquid in packaging like that? So the prior low comes in at around 236 at 0.9. Maybe this is why you're excited. That is very, very far away from where price action is at the minute. Going nowhere fast. It's 3.876 million market cap. Is that right? Yeah. Liquid Media Group is a media and entertainment company which engages in content IP spanning creative industries. It develops, produces, and distributes. Right. So, pretty brutal price action since it began. Weekly time frame. Also, this problem. I mean, this is why this is such a desperately awful formation, and it's like very, very easy to see what's happening with it. You know, like at this stage, you're like hoping it's over. You know, it's called a right-angled broadening wedge, and you really don't want them. So you got one, and like I mean, just obvious where the next low was going. As brutal and awful as it sounded, you know, when this thing broke back below 18.6, it was, and especially by the time it had reached, you know, 2009 March, people would have been able to tell you it was going to less than 2 because of this crazy information. Very reliable, very bad news. So you see it anywhere, look out for it. Look out for it, especially when it fails these levels, right? That's critical. Having previously tested the same horizontal. Anywho, right, 1, 2, 3 touches, then it's real, fails, activated, loses center line. That's the best trade, right? Push reward, boom. There's a free one for you. Right, anyway, so take a course of so much of that stuff. Right, so, price action, whoa, yo, woo, yeah. So this is like this very, what's the thing you like about this, by the way? Quick RSI volume MACD check. Oh, you wanted just me to do a quick check on things? Well, I can tell you that quickly looking at it, it's terrible, right? Looks like vomit and just brutal. Quickly looking at the volume, that was distribution in the end. Likely, though those are green bars. Doesn't mean anything, right? For every bar there's a sale. So, and the fact that price action came down from 7.9, I would say that from that point onwards, those sales were the more significant between the two. And yeah, so then the low in that formation to the then subsequent high 1618 was this guy, exceeded that. You loosely divergent since, so something there maybe for the crazy traders who like trading something like this. Has the market cap just gone up to 4 million as I've been talking? But the market's closed. Oh, post-market. Somebody's buying it just because it's been mentioned somewhere. It's like the algorithm. The YouTube algorithm's buying it because it heard me say it. YouTube algorithm's following me now. That's why it's suppressing me. Ha! This is it! I've cracked it. The theory of everything. Right. So yeah, this thing. I mean, yeah. 1618 extended that, but that's obviously breaking down some more. It's brutal. I think that my quick take is don't go near it. What's the question was about the volume. The RSI is bad. You don't like to argue with things in either control zone. And sure, it might be bullishly divergent, but I imagine it's done that before. It broke this trend line. That was significant. That was all heading to the top side as price was falling lower. And you were looking for that bullish reaction, which took you to ultimately a lower high distribution back below 200 period moving average, 50 simple fails, both lower the price action lower than both, and negative orientation. Oh, negative slope, negative split. Bam. Right, so not great. RSI not great. MACD crossing, but you're below 200 period moving average there, so that's not good. You're below it everywhere, right there, and it's crossing there. It's not good. It's failing at the center line. That one. 3-day. Also getting a sell signal. It's rejection. 2-day similar deal. Rejection. Sell signal. Earnings up soon. Very bad looking. Probably. Wait, do they still earn money? And then RSI at this stage also putting its own broadening wedge. This bad, and you've got, well, I mean, you could zoom it out a little, but that's again continuation. Oops, sorry, fib, get out of my face. You're looking for that to continue then, I suppose. Histogram also following through, volatility picking up as it loses support. That's really bad for this thing. Really bad. It's in the 1618, real bad. Down to the 4 hour, and you're not good enough here. Suppose you're looking at it thinking, why is it not in the bearish control zone? But that's just because it's so slow to organize, like after you sell it and distribute all over someone's face to go around the dark pools collecting enough to do it to them again, I suppose. It just takes a bit of time. So, anywho, what you like trade spotting? Stop being so silly, eh? So, lizard folks and whatnot, innit? So, yeah, it's the lizard folks, I'm afraid, John. Right, so the breakdown, it's awful. Awful, volatility picking up as it breaks down. It's awful, right? Sure, on that 4 hour, sure, right? Yeah, you've had this move from 1%, 0.19999 up to what's going on there? Went from 0.2, 0.27, right? So it does stuff like that. Volatility is still picking up, still losing support. I mean, you're playing with your account here when you trade this thing. Anytime it could fall off the edge of a cliff. It will return to those lines every so often. As and when it does it, it's just after it's managed to liquidate the vast majority of people in the trade, so it then can float back up again. And you know, starting point to opportunity. This thing, I'd say you would wait till the gun is fired, right? You're not. It's not about being first off the line with this trading to the top side. Certainly not, if that's what you're thinking. Not at all. Just join into this race later on, right? You skip through the canteen and that, and wait till they run around for a while, and then just as it's about to finish and before you're about to get caught, then you jump in, you're like, oh, fucking hell, oh, got about that, eh, whoa, that freaking YVR trade, whoa, that was it, guys, whoa, I fed up to that, eh, whew. Nah, you don't actually do the work, right, because that'd be silly. So, you know, cheap but expensive. It's $4 million it costs for this thing. Liquid media. Don't know, sounds like that send your ex glitter thing, doesn't it? But it'd be vomit and it'd be YVR or something. So that'd be harsh if I was to say. That would be very harsh if I was to say something like that and mean it. Of course, that was a joke. What was it next then? Which extended hours should I have in my trading view? Well, the Christmas ones, right? After Rocky Outcrop's birthday passes, then you turn on the extended hours for Christmas, and that lasts all the way through until such times as, you know, if you've still got that on after the 18th of January, your neighbours will think you're weird, at which point you don't have any extended hours on until late February at the earliest, when we get on all the spring extended hours. That's what happens. You'll notice bird tune that I'll send out word via the birds. Right, what's up? All the questions. What about this guy? He's not saying anything. This is unusual. You know, I'm live and here right now. Could happen. Could happen right now. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday, everybody. Right. I've got that box up earlier. I can move that box over here if I hit that button. And you come over here, mate. Hello. I've got some @trades buttons there. I see them. Oh, chat box isn't very big. Where is everybody? Jeepers creepers. Where is everybody? Hi Merrick. Hi Colin. Hi Go to Win. Hi Ace. Hi Mango. President Brady Pearl fan club. That's the one of the best fan clubs going. You must be an amazing president. News Wars. Dragonfly Colin. Yo. John G. Good to see you, buddy. There you are. CC's ghost is working. Yay. Brilliant. Oh, that was earlier. Yeah, sweet. We're just here soaking it in. Jay. He's all in the same place. Yo, Mellow Dog, is AMC looking good next week out of 15-minute wedge? A whole week out of a 15-minute wedge. I like you. I like your thinking, mate. That's that. You know. Yeah, I want my pocket money, my 50 quid pocket money this week, you know, because I kept my room clean. You know? I did what was required of me, so I want my £1,000,000 pocket money. No, it's not. It's just reasonable, right? It's a 15-minute wedge, so we're looking for a positive week next week because it's today's Friday trades point. Sell your boots. So that's a good question there about AMC coming in. Question about AMC. I'm sitting on forward calls. Sitting on forward calls. Sheesh. Check them out then. Flash on YVR. Is there? Yeah, not very liquid. So there's a flash, is there? Where's your flash then? I mean, bear in mind if it's to the top side, which I imagine it is because we're only heading down into new down territory, then you're not trading towards it in any shape. Is this what you're looking at? Why have I got extended hours on Goey? Is this what we're looking at? That's filled. That's filled. These guys filled. Maybe I'm looking at it somewhere, or maybe it's somewhere else. Anywho, I mean, look at that inflection point too. That was brilliant. Hey. So, forward calls. Just quickly look at that. What are you looking at in terms of forward calls as it happens? Testing 200 down daily. Still sitting on them. Today closed. Closed. When did it expire? And what's the strike? Just close that gap and hit the 200 and then come back below it. So sitting on them, sure you're sitting on you keep, how long are you gonna sit on them for? It's the cross here coming up on a 4-hour 50 simple approaching the 200. Suppose you've come close to testing it. Close enough, near enough? Don't know, mate. Not when it's against me, I don't think. That's holding the 50 simple crossing above the 200. I like to see that. I don't like what I'm just seeing there on RSI, but if you hold the center line, yeah, all to the good, right? You'll go on up and you'll test 16. If you don't, right, you break below the center line there. 4-hour time frame, even better. Signal breaking below and losing the cross. That would be better signal. Then you probably come back to 11. Nasty. No, maybe not. Let's just say 1250. So that's interesting. And then. Yo, Sarah. CC Sarah, we're blessed. Cersei Sarah and the president. Hello, beautiful lady. Is that for me? Hi. Mellow Dog. Hello. Do you mind looking at AMSA? Hello, Mellow Dog. Mellow Dog. Doug. It's Doug, man. It's Mellow Doug. It's Doug, you know. Nice guy. He's called Doug. Chill out a lot. He says, do you mind? That was a nice way of putting it, I suppose. Nah, I don't mind. Yo, how's it going, Mellow Dog? Thank you. He says thank you. Psh, look at that. It's nicer than literally everybody else in the world at the minute. We are all in airports again. All right. Sweet. Airports. Cool when people are in airports because they're going places and things. As long as you're not trapped. I am looking forward to working every day until the new year. Gotta keep warm. Sweet. Yeah, keep working. Never stop. Make it a habit, routine, all the rest of it. You know, it's like get back in the grind. You know, it's like, I'm just, who am I talking to? You know, the chat. Water off a duck's back, innit? Every day till New Year. Is that it? Why'd you even take a New Year's off, you big Egypt? Work twice as hard on New Year's already. Get up early already. Work harder already. Fuck all that, eh? So I'm looking forward to working. Yep. I have no idea if there's a flash. Oh, it was just... Okay. Thanks. There's no time to feel sad when running packages. Oh, there is though, There's plenty. I mean, there is. Yeah, there is. I mean, you can feel sad. It's brilliant. You can feel sad while you do other things. It's amazing. Okay, thanks. You're welcome, John G. Blessed. Right. See, blessed. That's a blessing. September the 2nd, 10 contracts, strike $9 AMC. Oh, right, aye. Look, Mellow Dog, we're just getting to know each other. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Happy Thanksgiving Day. Happy day given. Thanks. Quicker than the drug. Is it? Maybe you need to get yourself a new number, mate. I got a new job at BJS. I quit Dave and Buster's. Tracepoint. Nice one, man. Great. You've got any deals? Happy Thanksgiving. It's true. I'm a multitasker. Sweet. Yeah. Right. So yeah, 750 holding. It's holding 750 today. What 1.7 down. Meh. So this thing we were speculating bull flag if it does, prior highs within the formation, pushing those levels, hasn't managed to do anything exceedingly fantastic. Same time it hasn't managed to break back below 236 at 744 yet. Well, I mean, it went below it on this, but then it pushed back to the top side and held it. That's what I was trying to say there. The narrative, right? The sequence of events. We went up, we held like the formation that was potentially bullish, bull flag, but like this is what I was saying at the time, that this thing, along with having a gap right at the first instance, so I already don't believe this, right? Would then have this as the bull flag, and so the most bullish breakout of it would be typically it would hold like a 382, which at this stage you can see it held 382, right? This is the low, and then the measured move would be perhaps something like the elasticity you see from within the formation, right? I mean, that's not actually the elasticity you see within the formation. This is incorrect. This is how Bulkowski would describe it, and this is my problem with bull flags. Like, it's not my problem with bull flags, and it's not that he's got a thing and I'm at war with him. It's just that, he's got his position, and it's different from mine because his is wrong and mine's right. And I don't care. It's not about being right or wrong. If he was right, it would be my position would be his, but it's not. It's wrong. It's mine that's right. So, and it's like, anyway, so this the elasticity within this actually just takes you to where you've gone to here and no more. From overall, like, implied targets and whatnot, this is like a statistical move from when these formations work out. And they're only going to work out like that when it's a bullish formation in a bullish conditions. And it's not bullish conditions. This is a prior low, right? This is a lower low. And it's all a little lower than this start of the formation. So I also don't think that this is legit at all. But if it did work, it would work out with regards to support and resistance. It takes you back up to the top side at 1150, where it'd be crazy, crazy targets, golden pocket retracement, and at that stage you'd be saying the 50 simple itself would likely be pushing towards 200 on that 4 hour there. But that having done that then without the 50 simple itself being tested at that 200, because price action would be far too far away to come and test it at that moment, then, the integrity of the development of prices would be unrealistic to reach that point from here. And that's not the way things happen. And so, probabilities, that's starting to seem like 1150, starting to sound like crazy person talk. Also, this formation, I'm just telling you, little Bulkowski, you can just update that textbook, man. Doing it wrong. And then, so then, like, the guy is in here, this guy, like, you could do it different ways. Let's do it like this and then do it like that, just to make it extra confusing for people watching along. And then, you'd be saying there's the top side of that formation at that point, probably, and then it came up to those levels. It did that. It did no more than that. $8. Right, what was the high? 774 there. We'll call it 777 because we like that, and that's what we do. Shut up prices. We're telling you what it is. Right, so, and this gap here, you'd be filling that on that move. You'd be back above the 200 period in 4 hour. It looks like you've had that. It's like asking to break above that in the first pass is a lot. Sooner find that back towards these highs at around 830, 40 before price action is like testing it from the top side, finding support on it, yo. That's what I'd be thinking. So, yeah. So what was your chat you had then? Anyway, as soon as you did tell me, though in future, that's all cool, right? That's all cool. What? So where is it? I had the thing up there. Ticker time frame entry stop target. Reasons for entering trade is like a big part of it though. So tell me what you're thinking about that. That adds context to all the other things it's saying. Makes them, helps me understand like a little bit about you too. Like at least I can make assumptions and that gives me a story in my head anyway. Hello, beautiful lady. Thanks. Hello, do you mind looking at AMC? Well, we're way back in past now. Whew. Little do you know. Happy Thanksgiving, Mellow Duck. Che, closed above max pain, so that's good. Che, that's great. Thank you, sir, for looking at AMC. Welcome, sir. 777. 777, totally. I'm true multitask. Right, okay, so we've not missed much at all then. So, what are we thinking here? Well, you've got a gap. You've had a positive move out of this, but it's not managed to reach the top of this at 830, 840. That would be what you'd be looking for in bullish conditions. 200 period moving average at 888. That'd be the target. 877. Golden pocket retracement around those levels. 888. If you do push higher, so the first target's 830. The next one's 880. Beyond that, asking for a lot. RSI would have to be in the bullish control zone, high above your previous levels. Spin this motherfucker. Right, so at this stage, I mean, we'll spin this motherfuckers, right? Eh? So I think we're low on the old. Got 33 concurrent viewers, so I guess it's, the chat rate is at 2. That must be a new low. It must be a new low. 2 messages per minute on average since we've been on. How? How is it so low? What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people? You're not normal human beings, or what? Praise button, your multitasking skills are so on point. They are. What's your problems? You all lost your passports, or what? What's wrong with yous? You rock. I know I do. Yes, well, I'm not the problem here. That's for sure. Trace button, you're yes. Hang up on those numbers. Sarah, yeah, look out there being sad, doing the deliveries, and also pumping the numbers. Newswords, you were talking earlier. You're already contributing. Where's these other 33 folks? Most of these are invisible. You know these are invisible, eh? Is that, you know, like, like, I was thinking, you know, I can't wait to treat these guys and tell them the truth about how the Celtic people invented money, economies, and society, how we developed it all. And the truth about all these ancient civilizations, you feel like they've been lost. They haven't. They're still walking among you, and we know the truth about a lot of things. You know, it's like, I've fucking fill them in, eh? We've reached the threshold. We can reveal the truth, okay? We can do it. And then fucking everyone disappears. It's like, what? What? That's the worst timing ever. No, I mean, keeping my secrets to myself is... Psst. Eh? Right? Freaking... You know? You want to learn? You don't even know nothing. You don't know nothing. Could tell you all about it, right? Could tell you all about it. How the Irish, the Celts, the Gaelics, the Gaels. I could tell you all about it. You know, the Welsh and that. 200,000 Welsh people in Turkey, capital of what is now Turkey, in Ankara. Back then, inventing money, creating economies, spreading knowledge after disasters, wiped out massive civilizations and loads of knowledge. You know, Welsh in that, exactly. Eh? You're way off. You're way off watching Netflix and that. You just don't know. You've missed out. It's big, silly idiots. Right, well, maybe we'll get around it. Who knows? It all depends. So, yeah, I mean, I could just be off trading from it. Like, seriously, you know, you don't know how lucky you are. Right, so it's Friday and 33 people, and most of these are invisible, and I think I've berated you enough. So, also, this bull flag is started. We and I are not friends. And the 200 period moving average in that, you know, I'm not going to argue with it either, because I know my place. Right, so, like, little did he know his place. 1 hour time frame, what we're seeing. Flash down at 7.4. All right, that's below 50 simple at the minute itself, which has managed to get a negative slope despite positive moves up here. You know, that's not very inspiring. 200 periods in at around 50% retracement down at 650. So if this whole thing, like, comes back to the prior low in at around 712 with bullish divergence, it'll bounce up and head towards 970. Right, fantastic. Will it get the full measured move of that up to 1150? I wouldn't be taking. I'd have some idea of taking profit in advance of that. If it loses 740, it's heading down to 691. If that doesn't hold, which we did probably not, because we'd have breaking this entire formation. Even if it was bullishly divergent, I'd be looking for a test of the 200, which would suggest you're coming back for a 50% retracement in at around 650, which would be like brutal for anybody's calls. If you entered this thing like down at these levels before it broke up to the top side and you're thinking, oh, this is forming a bigger bull flag and whatever, then you're just living off like fumes. That's this here, not this here. This is downward sloping formation. It's possibly a wedge, and you're right that it broke to the top side off the back of that, but you know, it's already done the entirety of that measured move as we talked about when we drew it out earlier. You know, that's it. This guy. That'd be these sort of sides, you know, this is the broadest part of that formation, so take it over here, that's the implied target, that's the breakout point, you've done that, you know, it comes back to the prior high within the formation that you're departing, looking for more than that and calling this a bull flag's rich. It is already at resistance, historical resistance at 820 in that. Asking for it to get above 950 then, very, very ambitious, could easily do it, but anything below 744, this 236, which it's going to lose to 50 simple and get to this flash at 7.4. Dodgy 15-minute time frame, and we talked about how the prior flash filled that in at around 714 when moving back to the top side. And then was there not something down at around $5 and change, or is that when that was this low here, we got that at 5.9, so that closed that guy off. I think it did anyway. We've not got another chart on AMC. Probably got more information on it. There's the 862. All right, there's the 862 flash. This is what we did the last time. Did you watch? Did you Mellow Duck? Did you watch? Did AMCTA from the other day there? This is what we did the last time. We went through it and everything was awful and it looked brutal. And then there was like, oh, a small caveat. The SPY's actually all right, so maybe it goes up and then we got down to the 2-hour time frame and there was the flash at 860. And it was like, oh, we'll scrap that. I mean, if it makes it back above, because essentially the high it's already put in, which is what on this move, $8, it'll go 862. And if it's at 862, that's an 886. If it's at 862, is that a golden pocket as well? If it's at 862, yeah, then I mean it's hard to argue with that, especially because this inflection point was a 236. You know, this is what happened the last time, right? So I mean, if your trade's cool, like if you've got a stop and it's capital protection, you can turn it into profit protection even better. I'm looking to get out of that trade though at some point because AMC will be back down at 3.63. Unfortunately, $3.63 on AMC will be happening. So the entirety of like this trade, obviously downward sloping formation, broadening wedge, like I was saying, with looking at SPY or something else I was making a point about recently, having lost the basis line or whatever you want to call the midpoint within a broadening wedge, you would expect then to be testing either extreme, to then being rejected from the top side and lose a center line from that point onwards to expect to break resistance. Highly unlikely in terms of probabilities. Well, aiming for it, not so much. Breaking it, definitely. So, you know, back above the basis line, cross happening here, testing it on a 2-hour time frame. If it does, which it so far has reacted positively, i.e. hold that 50 simple, then it'll go 862, and at that stage it could go on up to 1150. You know, itself another golden pocket, and that could happen. You can see also it's the 86 and historical resistance, and there's probably other things if I was actually looking at the bullish thesis, which I wasn't. I'm just like, this is, but so you know, overall it could push up, but and it probably does to 862, but I expect to find it in at around $3 and change in the not too distant future. So this is like, you know, something to bear in mind for yourself, Doug. 1150, I'm going to shit my pants. Well, I don't know if you're going to get it on before expiry there, or at least like if it'll go that direction until then exclusively. So there may be more opportunities on the cards. So you know you don't need to put your pants. And the truth is, if you were to add up free trades that you could potentially, which you would ultimately, you know, whatever happens in retrospect, looking back on it, you'll be able to see price action made moves and oscillated X, Y, and Z. You know, contracts sold all. They gone already? So you know that's what we're saying. So what am I saying? I can't mind. Anyway. If it, I can't actually remember the previous sentence. That's what AC looks like. Stuff like that. A little bit of positivity, but overall, this coming back to test these lows, which would be low within the broadened information, you know, to tighten that guy up. You'd say, is that also a gap here? Yeah. So. That's that 161 extension, which again, you know, you wouldn't be able to take that out of the picture until such times as you exceed the golden pocket and the 86 from this 86 and the golden pocket from here. So like, if you know, as it's evolving, I mean, I could do that same stuff on SPY, but that gives away all the secrets of stuff I'm about to talk about next week. This thing looks like, you know, from this stage, if it was to break above 1150, 1180, you'd be living on planet. The world is the different planet from this one. Hello, Pam. Hi, Pam. Hi, Jamie. I'm working, but stopping by to say hello. Hi, Pam. Great to see you. Keep up the work. Hard work out there, Pam. Keep it up, Pam. And everybody else. Boom, boom, boom. How do you like it? How do you like it? Well, that was that then. So I think we've covered everything. I can't say that I've been desperately inspired for sploshing. You know, have obviously got my box of wine. What you like, camera? Get back. Get back. Oh, it was the wrong thing. I was entirely the wrong software. What am I, chopped liver? Wow, look at the background, eh? Right, so that was it. Happy Friday, happy week. I'm writing a request right now. 1 second, please. Jamie, yo, you don't have to fax me. The show will be finishing. Just give me it there. Give me it, yo. Is that the same box of wine as the last time you talked about? Yeah, it is. Of course it is, Sir. This world does not revolve around you, Traceborn. What? It revolves around us. What? What? Don't make me cry. Hello, Mellow Doug. Hello. When Black Friday savings on stonks? Oh, Black Friday. If you're spending your money on premium plastic, you might be later on regretting being out of pocket because Rocky Outcrop has an announcement to make, which will be coming soon, along with potential video on his channel. When I say soon, it's up to him when it comes, and that depends on his health. So, you know, but it's fun and exciting, and personally, so if you're like immediately just there about to take course, I'd like hold off, wait, tiny wee bit. Also, I've got interesting stuff coming out. New types of content, hopefully everybody likes. Bloody hell, I'm busy, you know. You know, this is the thing, like, you know when you've got like some, like other people watch along here and they'll understand like an entrepreneurial type of background. Like, you never want to start something new without like, well, you know, you can't, you know, you just want to start something new. That's the worst place to earn that sentence. Without having already, you know, you like don't like dropping things. You just like making successful things. So you end up being very, 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 very busy until such one thing works. Don't put this burden on me, Tradespawn. What burden is it? He's excited and funny. He's not boring. Yes, he's excited and funny. He's not boring. Who are we talking about now? Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. It's lost slushing. We're just alcoholics. Oh, right. That's what you mean. The burden and the slushing, and no slushing, alcoholics and the burden and the slushing. And I've got the box of wine, so why not? Well, maybe we'll be back then. You know, there's loads of things we could talk about. Well, I love to talk about the economy, don't I? I love to talk about the economy. The economy. Whoop, 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 whoop. What else is happening recently in terms of economy? I mean, I thought more people would be asking about oil or like potential crosses, federal funding rates, you know, for themselves and whatnot, their own problems, you know. So people don't want to talk about oil. I thought that would have been a big thing. Bum 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 bam, bam bam bam. Anyway, I expect a lot of volatility in oil over the next 2 weeks. Please tell Rocky hello from me, Tradespoint. I will, Pam. You betcha. We are fans of most oils. We don't like grape and seed. A lot of seed oils we're not fans of. Like the chemically cleaned, whatever it is, chemically the other thing, and chemically whatchamacallit it. We don't like the seed oils all that much. Some of them, do we? Some of the fruit seed oils and that, you know, just a little bit. Some of them, yeah, some of them not. What are we talking about? Was this some other type of oils? Oh, oils that you were talking about, because I was talking about, oh, that's silly, yeah, Tradespoint, it's a trading show, remember? And you were talking about, remember Tradespoint, remember? Yes. Pam update, wife, 31 weeks now. You've got a wife. You've had a wife for 31 weeks. Congratulations! I think that's a brilliant note to end the show on. Mellow Doug, he's so fucking mellow. He's managed to have a wife for 31 weeks, which in this part of the world is a bit of a record. Lucas wanted to know about Russian oil because that's what his country buys, but they also tax the oil, so you can't tell what's going on. Yeah, they do. They tax the oil, and then they. Very, very smart. You know, Lloyd's of London, the underwriters for much of the transport that takes this ship through international waters, will refuse to provide insurance on ships carrying oil over certain values, which is effectively works as, you know, price caps and stuff. So there's those sort of things. Question though, typically if you're trading oil and you want to know, like, so much more money to be made trading oil than there is in anticipating changes to your energy budget. And then if you are trading oil, I would always recommend either like you've got a, you know, position on the underlying oil company in particular for one particular reason. It's usually better than just the overall industry. If you are looking at the overall industry, then I'd be definitely looking at futures contracts. And often I would have them. Bye, Pam. So often I'd have a future contract. More frequently I'd have underlying. And then often if it looked like that dodgy trade wasn't working out immediately, then I might have some sort of options contract too. Or, and you know the way oils contracts works, futures contracts and oils often very complicated. Some of them are based on option contracts as well, and they're a lot of volatility there. This is what I'm saying. You know, some people spend their entire lives on one thing, You know, and even if vast majority of people who work in professional roles in finance with regards to short-term securities don't work on things like bond accruals, and so having a knowledge of all the different instruments and all the different assets and all the different risk profiles, broad knowledge is pretty good. No, Jamie, did you see my super chat message? Holy fuck, I somehow didn't. It's right there. It just missed off. I must have glanced away and glanced back in a moment. Have a great weekend. I have to get back to work. I love you all. Have a great weekend, Pam. You total legend. Oh, there's another one from Pink Corrector. Somehow I didn't see any of these. What's that all about? Hey, see, short entry. Yo, Pink Corrector. Thanks, Pam. I really appreciate it. Yo, Pink Corrector. Have a great weekend, Pam. Don't forget to wear your seatbelt and your life jacket. HD. Short entry, 330, 325, half exit at 317, which is 236 VIP area. If hold, exit all. If the 236 area holds, exit all. If break, go to gap fill. 995 area, stop loss at 331. Highest body close. Yo, cool. Thanks very much. So you got a HD. What you at there? HD. Right. There's a history. A hooda. Do you have a hooda? Right, so I mean, this very strong move, overall market, outperforming the overall market, then that retracement back above the 50 simple there, testing the prior high already. I like it. That does, though, put in a W bottom. Of which you'd have to be aware where the 1.13 was. 350. So that's the first thing. Add 0.2. I'd also look at 886 where you've managed to hit in your body closes there on the weekly. Wicked up towards it as well, interestingly. Anyway, right. Trace plan starters, you mean to continue this ploppily. Weekly, aye. So you held that 200, you tested it twice, tested your prior low at that stage. You're bullishly divergent. You came back up, you've put in a higher high on the RSI, but you've not yet done so on price action. So while it's performed better than other markets, this particular asset is facing potential continuation divergence. That weekly close on the 50 simple has led to this move, which took you to your prior high, but no further. So the 315 to 330 was predictable to a degree. I mean, you could have anticipated it rather than predicted it. I suppose there's one in the same in some instances, but then how you behave off the back of it's very different from responsible, isn't it? 55, managed to push back above 55. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with it right now, but like a massive open close above there is like very, very confident. Well done. And then why did I come here? It wasn't for that. Aye, that'll do. And then Home Depot. Home Depot, very much like positive chart. So, both, that was a good trade there. Had it right. So, you won't be getting that sort of thing. This chart's useless at these levels today. I still think this is worth considering. It's just 190. 195 area, right? So even beyond this at this stage, I'd say would be crazy. And you've got it as a target. So that's good to see. Also, it's a previous gap, is it, in around these levels? Don't see it on the weekly, but I suppose you're not talking about that. A 2-day daily gap fill 9th area. Here's the daily. There is the gap that you're talking about. No, it isn't. That's a different area way below that low. And is it a gap as well? Hello, Toy Spotter. It is a gap. Oh my goodness gracious me. Right, that's possible. Possible. Prior lows there, 237. That's obviously the first place you'd be looking to. What did you say? Short entry, 330, 325, right? So, I mean, you've come back to this prior high, so you have got that potential set up. RSI at this stage in the bullish control zone, so I'd caution you there. I'd say that you've got a potential formation on the RSI that could be, look good and then break your heart with this potential wedge if this should break down, turn into a channel, which is still very possible, then move back again to the top side and put in another touch and some divergence. You don't really have divergence on this leg of the trend yet. Class B maybe, but I suspect it's slightly higher on the daily. Looking left, I can see that this was a prior high, much higher on the RSI, so you've still got a little bit of room to run. If this wants to push up to the previous heights on RSI around 72, then price action would push up towards 350, which would be a 1.13 extension of this W, which at the time when I first looked at it, I was wondering if it was part of a deeper retracement, but really no. I mean, really this is like catching this thing right around the bottom, move back up again. Home Depot doesn't like to drop too much for too long. That being said, it does look like it could easily put in a rectangular formation here and turn more into, you know, something I should probably have started today's show talking about then, because yourself. Talking more about this sort of thing, you know, that was a little bit messy at the end. But, you know, rectangular formation as the duration of price action around here from early March, springtime, to see it break above 350 would be very, very unusual, is what I would put it there at this stage, without having come back down and tested any of the levels within this. So, in the first one you'd be looking at would be 310, and then below that would be the 200 moving average at 300, and the 50 simple also comes in at around 382, around 289, 290. So look at see why those would be levels. But your trade is half X at 317 for those levels. That's good, which is 236. Okay, 236 from the low back up again. I suppose that's what you're talking about. That would be, get out my face, that guy. Something around here could be make this better tighter there. Aye, so you'd be looking at this breaking. Oh, is there 236? This guy's different. That's 315. What were you saying? Which is that? Okay, cool. And that, so your first target is cool. That makes sense. And there's a little bit of a gap at 326, so or 320. So you know, anticipate a little bit of volatility there relative to the rest of the trend. Which is the 250. If hold exit all, yeah. If it holds this and bounces back up again at that stage, you'd be putting in a potential bull flag again. You'd be worried about how that might break to the top side. I wouldn't want to be holding that as it approaches a stop. If I'm already in profit, I'd get out of that. I call gap for, which is the ba-dum bump. If it breaks down, ba-dum bump, ba-dum bump, bump. Right, so the 200 period moving average is at 300. There's also a 50% retracement on both sides of the fib here. I'd expect on both fibs. I'd expect some sort of volatility in there around 296, 295. So just because it breaks this 236 doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to get back down and do that gap fill. Where is that gap fill there? I'm not seeing it even on the daily time frame. It's not there. It is there. That's 293. That's not what it's not what Jackie's talking about. At 195 area is what Jackie's talking about. 195 gap. This is the 236 here around 278. If it breaks below this, then perhaps it goes down. But that would be a big ask from here. Looks like it's trying to put in sort of, it's arresting the downtrend at this point. Not 100% sure about this thing. If it would break below 278, 280, then maybe I'd be looking at that sort of, but the minute nudge. And what was the rest of the thing? Well, I've got a break gap fill 195 area to 195. That'd be exceeding this test 234. 236 at that stage would be on the cards looking left. That came in what, around 190. And then this is the sort of area you're looking for to find a gap. 195. Where is that 195 gap? Am I even looking at the right chart? Because I don't see no gap. Oh, there's the gaps, yeah. That's 160. 172. I don't see a gap at 195 though. Apart from that, it all makes sense. Maybe you're talking about the gap fill in it around before those areas, around 295. Where's 295 gap? I mean, is that a thing? Wow, I went back in time a lot there. Yeah, you're talking about this gap at 295 and the 200 period moving average. That's what you're talking about, sir. You're not talking about 195. That would be a complete breakdown in price action, which I'd suggest, you know, you get a lot of tests of things before that. The first place you'd be looking to on that trade then would be perhaps 298 and a test of the 200 period moving average. a first pass, asking to break it, you know, when the risk on the trade at that stage, maybe that's a take profit 2, the third take profit in around 290, and that would be the gap filled at that stage, testing the 50 simple. That sounds like a good trade, Jackie. It's just the first thing I'd be wary of is if we do have a positive open on Monday, looking at it go around 350, and overall if it does go to 350, you definitely want to be not holding it from here or there, because you don't know what's going on and it could be turning around. Tip also, that might be like more chocolate on your biscuit type of trade, you know, that sort of thing. Tested the 200 once it does get up to these levels, and if it does that without testing this 200 here, I can see there's also potential inflection point at 320 there. You know, places to take profit or at least manage risk, move stops into profit. It's very difficult to move stops into profit quickly with this guy because of the nature of the formation. It's just come out of here in the proximity of this prior high. Whereas had it done that 350 and started putting in 3 touches bearish divergence along the way, which could happen with a retracement back down, hold that support at 315 and the 236 area that you're perhaps talking about looking right, that then... yeah, I would get out of that trade if it does hold that, because it could go on up. That 350 entry might give you the same idea, but slightly bigger risk reward. Looks good, man. Slightly better risk reward. Brilliant. Eh? Brilliant. Alright, you want me to do some software update? Get out of my face. So what else? So we got everything. Dials me, hold on. Bam. I blew my flip-flop. Oh no, stepped on a top, blew my flip-flop, cut my heel. Had to cruise on back home. Sounds like a soon a song. This sounds like a song. Also flip-flops, eh? You bust a flip-flop. That sounds like the flim-flam. It's great work. Wasted away again. Traceboys chat box. It's so lost. The gold dust. On the videos, similar situation. We're in the same boat. It's brilliant. It's a big ice ship. 86% pulp. No, 86% ice. Water. It's only 16% wood pulp trade spotting. That's why it's such a great economics. You know, it's brilliant. Eh? It's a little bit chilly though. A little bit chilly. Did you see the dead option volume on GameStop? What are your thoughts on that? Options disappeared. The options disappeared. Dead options volume. The options, they disappeared, folks. They're gone. You got shot. Want it. GameStop. Options. Well, I look at the open interest, you know. I look at the open interest. Boom. Similar situation. Similar situation. Jump over the moon. Jump over the moon. Boom. Boom. It's really common that like YouTube will recommend stuff about technical analysis or charting or whatever to me every so often. I'll click on a live thing and that. Sometimes I do, and like I'll see someone that I used to see here chatting all the time, paying some random dude that like they trust just because he spends all day talking about Tesla to give them their GME. Think, look at GME for me and that. It's like, wow. Like the less you do on that, the more people reward you for doing it, and that's like, well, crazy, eh? Way that whole thing works. Who would have known? I saw you standing alone. You didn't. Blue moon. Oh, it was like the smelly cheese. If anyone has any song questions, let me know. And I'll write them. Someone also noted on Monday that those deep in the money puts showed up again. 250,000 or something, or maybe it was 180,000 if it was something stupid. Oh my goodness, they showed up again, did they? Oh my goodness. Hey. Oh yeah. So that GME DD site shut down. That's shut down. Hey. That can only be great bullish news. Eh? I love it, eh? Can only be, eh? It's not like cognitive dissonance is a thing. That could only be amazing that they shut down. They were really good help. Really good choice. All the things associated with that. Fantastic news recently. Really good. Heated apparel. Are you rocking or Jimmy? Heated apparel or I've got a hat that heats up. It's amazing. I've got a hat that heats up. It's amazing. A hat. I'm not walking in a pro. I've got this, you know, the Jamie blend. You know, this what it is. It's all trade spot and threads. It's all unreasonable land, right? You know, steal them together on a big ice boat. I know. How could our love be so blind? It wasn't. You were blind. I saw everything. Anyway, right. Lots of lols and thanks. So it was brilliant. It was a brilliant show. Yeah, brilliant show. The chat box got like way more. What did chat rate get to after that berating I gave you? We must have did something exciting. Get out my face notification. 6. Whoa, that went up by 3 times. We went up by 3 times. That's pretty impressive. Thanks everybody very much. And what did we get in terms of likes? Wow. We got 197 people came. 36 of them decided to stay. On average, you stayed for just over 10 minutes. That's pretty good. It means, though, that the average view on the total stream will be, what will that be? How long was the stream as it happens? 1 hour and 22 minutes. So 10 minutes of 120. Oof, that's pretty low. Right, so this is brutal. Another terrible statistic day. Terrible. Well, it's not our fault, is it? Well, it's definitely not my fault, that's for sure. You're a very good president. You're telling she is. It's one of the best. He is. It's one of the best fan clubs going. Ours chewing. Wow, that's some proper practice. Really, you gotta get that. Repetitive strain injury is a problem in that profession. Right. Thanks very much for everybody who chipped in. And all those 11 minutes was mostly you 30 odd folks that have been watching the entire show. Thanks so much. Also, thanks for the likes. 35 of them. That was appreciated. Some people probably would have watched but had to leave. And then everybody else, they just came and went and they didn't even say hello. Yo, Gek, how's it going? So we've had a great week. I think we've had a great week. We've done some good stuff, you know. This show was good, I think. Everyone was good. Thanks very much. Thanks. 17 months. 17 months, CC. CC's brilliant. You're welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for 17 months. Thanks so much for everybody sticking around. You guys are the base. It's brilliant, right? It's brilliant. Pay corrector. I meant $2.95. My bad. Look, Jackie, you give me $2 to say that as well. You're so generous and you're so very, you're a titan. What we are witnessing here is the return of titans. Oh, look, there's loads of messages from Bulldog. This 6 minutes, 6 messages a minute chat's lies. I mean, that's, oh, it's gone up. It's gone up loads. It's gone up loads. Poof, big update there. That'll be what that was. Okay, so I don't know. I'm very spoiled. You're spoiling me with these. Hello? No, the Return of Yellowstone. Lol, the Return of Yellowstone. That's a show, isn't it? A TV show. I've never seen it. Never seen it. It's got the guy from Waterworld in it, though, isn't it? Cheers. Best chat box ever. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not invisible, just attempting to relieve my FOMO from the cold trade I laid out but didn't take out, and it's working out brilliantly. You laid out but didn't take, and it's working out brilliantly. Oh, no. Well, congratulations, right? What does it matter? I mean, there'll be more. Well done, Merrick. I mean, we talked about it a couple of times on the show after you brought it up. Properly good one. What's this gold doing as it happens? Just to make rub that in even more. These are the charts. Am I on the charts? That's not the charts. This is the wrong software. Again, these are the charts. And that's not the chart. This is the one. And we're looking for KOLD. $10.50. Ooh. Ooh, suits used there. Way I got the volume on that low. Didn't have the bullish divergence. No guarantee it's over yet. I would definitely rest that FOMO, yo. Yeah, rest that FOMO, yo. Yep, arrest that. Have that FOMO arrested immediately. Arrest that famoso. Arrest that famoso, yo. Yep. Yep. Oh, I'd arrest that famoso. So that was interesting. A little bit of value there from Eric. Thank you very much, Eric. Hey, what a week it's been, eh? What a week it's been. Okay, so
See you next week, guys.